Hi, my name is Chris Copen. I'm the Vice President of Technology with Kramer Electronics. And I wanted to have a follow-up to my first video on showing the application of using an AOCH, which is an optical fiber cable, HDMI optical fiber cable, in applications like in classrooms where you've got a passive wall plate. You'd like to have the optical cable on the back side of the wall plate and then a certain amount of cable in front of the wall plate that is connected to either the student or teacher's PC or any source device for that matter, and the problems that can arise when doing that. And so here in kind of the follow-up part 2, I wanted to do it, but with an analyzer. So I've got the Quantum Data 780C analyzer here that has a cable test function. So what I have is, sorry for the camera movement here, I've got my active optical cable that I'm going to connect directly to the analyzer. I'm going in and out of the analyzer with this optical cable. And now I want to run the cable test. So I go to cable test, test wire. So what this does, it sends out a high bitrate signal at a number of different resolutions. And it actually records the bitrate errors that come back. So you can see here with this active optical cable that even at 2160/30, I have 0 errors. Then I go down to 1080p 60 12-bit, and then 1080p 60 8-bit, and all the way down to 480p, and everything comes back 100% okay, 0 errors. So now I want to remove this. And if you remember in my part 1 of my video, I had a 12-foot HDMI cable. So let me just connect that 12-foot HDMI cable and run the same test. You can see what I have here. I have just now this 12-foot HDMI cable connected to the analyzer for reference purposes here. And let's run the same test. So you're going to see the same thing. It's going to come back as 0 errors for all the different resolutions. So it kind of proves that both of the pieces of the puzzle here, the cable, the 12-foot cable, as well as the active optical cable by themselves work just fine. But now I'm going to couple, as I did in my first video, the two of them together through a passive wall plate. So I've got my little HDMI insert wall plate here. Well, it's actually just a table insert. Imagine it's a wall plate, but it's just a passive HDMI in, HDMI out. And then it's going to go into my active optical cable, and then back to the analyzer. So let me show you here what I've got going on. So I'm coming out of the analyzer. I'm going through my 12-foot HDMI cable that running around to this insert, which again, imagine that's a passive wall plate, and then through the active optical cable and then back to the analyzer. So now let's run this test again. So now with them all coupled, in fact, I kind of know I'm going to start to have problems here because the analyzer is taking a minute to actually come up. And you can see it's got all kinds of errors. Now, I don't know how big that number is. Looks like it's probably in the millions of the amount of bit errors. So at 4K 30, at 1080p 60 12-bit, even 1080p at 8-bit, you know, there's just all types of errors there. You know, you're really going to get a picture that is not stable, or it's going to be full of digital snow. Like if you remember the first video, we had nothing but digital snow and instability. So now what I'm going to do is take out the passive, what would be my passive wall plate, and put in Kramer's WP3H2, which is a single gang HDMI in, HDMI out reclocking wall plate. So again, let me just go through the scenario here. I've got my 12-foot HDMI cable coming from the analyzer. It's going around now to the front of the wall plate, and then on the back side of the wall plate is my AOCH cable back to the analyzer. So let me set this down here and let's run this test again. So because I've got a reclocking device now, I've got to use the repeater test on the analyzer. And you can see I am back to 0 errors. So at 4K 30, all the way down to 480p, I've got absolutely 0 errors. So the reclocking and equalization that we talk about in this WP3H2 is actually demonstrated here, that it's actually doing the specific job it was designed for. So, it's a fantastic help device. And I hope this gives you a little more clarity as to, what's happening in here. That, we can look at a display and see a picture, but sometimes it's nice to actually read it on an analyzer. So thanks a lot for your attention.